Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's practice of Medicine Buddha. It's so wonderful to see so many of you joining us um, today. Wherever you are in the world, I know for some of you, you're coming in from Europe, which I know it's 11, 12 o'clock, depending on the time zone. So thank you. I used to teach Medicine Buddha from, from Europe, and never again. Because I barely made it through. I was like, oh my God, I won't get through this practice. Um, so boundaries as you grow older, you're like, I just can't, I'm not young anymore. Um, so the skin is holding out. I will admit that, right? I get a lot of pressure to to color my beard, to dye my beard, because a lot of men in Atlanta dye their beards, you know. But I don't know. I don't mind aging. I don't mind the grayness. It gives me character. But in any case, how did I get into that? Um, but anyway, we're here in Medicine Buddha. Welcome to those of you who are new. And yeah, we're gonna get into our practice. There's so much going on, there's so much happening. And everything that we're offering, in the community, it's medicine for what's happening right now. You know, the healing of medicine Buddha, the compassion of Tara, the grounding in lineage that we do in Blessed Slay, right? The gathering of community and Sunday service and evoking the Black prophetic tradition, and so on, right? This is all about really tuning in to sources of refuge that can really hold us. As I often say, we have to be careful about what we're taking refuge in right now. There are things that we're taking refuge in that are not sustainable, that are not conducive to our liberation, right? And we have to get clear about that. You know, um, we have to get serious about what it means to get free, right? Um, and I was just having this conversation with, a colleague friend today where I was just saying, it's like we need an ethic, we need strong personal ethics about what we're doing and how we're doing it. Like, what are you doing right now? Like, what are you investing energy in? What are you trying to divest from? What is your overall philosophy, right? And in the Buddhist sense, our personal ethic is deeply rooted in bodhicitta, right? Which I often call awakened care in the New Saints. To be rooted in this ethic, this deep concern for the wellness of everyone, which again is also a rooting in the actual embodiment of empathy, which I think is in very short supply right now. And I get it, it's very natural. We think we can protect ourselves by shutting down, or we've accumulated so much pain, right? And the impact of that accumulation makes it really difficult for us to first be with ourselves, be with our bodies, be with what's arising within our own minds, right? And that gets overwhelming. And it's not just this life, it's the accumulation of past lives as well. It is tuning in to the suffering of the ancestors, right? As well, like we're like these vessels where all of these streams of experiences are flowing into, right? And if we don't have a consistent practice of addressing and tending to those streams, then we get filled up, right? And we get weighty, it feels like very like depleting, And I talk about this from personal experience. I've survived this, right? Where you get so weighed, you get so depleted because you're taking on so much, right? Often unknowingly, right? And until you have a clear ethic from which you're working, it's hard to really start addressing and tending to this situation, right? It is this ethic around liberation and the embodiment of love, right? That actually keeps me focused. It keeps me going. It keeps me understanding how to be in a relationship with everything, to my body, to the ancestors, to my mind, to community, to people, so forth and so on, right? It's the clarity, right? It's getting clear about so many things that really is a form of medicine, right? A really potent form of medicine, right? Um, and there's so much noise, there's so much like static, right? There's so much chaos, right now. And it's easy to get distracted away from our ethic, right? From what we're trying to do. And this is why Buddha Dharma is incredibly important for me, because it is the medicine that's really about paying attention, coming back home to the moments, right? It is the medicine that helps me to tell the truth, right, about what's happening. Not to like deny anything, not to bypass, not to cover over, but to say, yeah, this is happening, and this is my experience of what is happening, right? That kind of truth telling is really an act of care for ourselves and for everyone, right? This is the point of meditation, is to get clear, to train in paying attention, because we're so distracted, right? And I think the point of particularly, you know, administrations, particularly in this country right now, is to keep us so distracted, right? To keep us disembodied, right? And I think that's also one of the key components of colonization, is to disembody people so that they're much more easily assimilated into the dominant culture's paradigms. you know to reclaim our body is actually to reclaim this profound sacred agency to make choices about the determination, the future of my body, right? And my community, right? But to get there, you have to learn to cut through the chaos and to come back to the moment, to come back to this presencing, you know, like being in this present moment and feeling this moment, right? And learning how to hold, and again, holding meaning to let go of all this reactivity to what's happening, to what's arising, to what we're listening to, or what we're struggling with, right? You can struggle intensely and still be really clear about what's happening, right? And so much of this process is about feeling, right? It's about experiencing, being with these sensations, being with these energies, right? I also call this, all this process that I've just been mentioning, I call this eating the chaos. You have to eat it, right? You have to consume it, right? If you don't consume it, it will consume you. And a great many people are being consumed right now, right? It's like trying to stay on top of the waves, right? Trying to ride all these waves in rough water, right? And it is possible, but it takes a moment to moment um, kind of commitments, right? Is always coming back to the moment, no matter how much we get disrupted, no matter how often we go underwater, we come back again, right? And what's been helpful for me is to understand that the practice isn't necessarily about staying on top of the waves, but the practice for me has actually been about the number of times that I choose to return back to the surface when I've fallen off. The perpetual returning over and over again, right? And I think some of us, like we feel disheartened because we can't stay on top of everything. Well, just let that go. You know? Like if it's not working, then think about something else. And this is really important to think about. Maybe, maybe we should focus on all the ways in which we continuously choose to return back, to get back on top of those waves, to reemerge from under the water, to keep getting back up after we've been shoved down. Right? Which is what it feels like these days. It feels like you're being kicked down, right? But to return back over and over and over again, forgetting all of the stuff about how long you can stay on top, but focusing on all the ways you choose to come back and celebrating that. Like if you need something to celebrate, celebrate every time you come back and you say, oh, woo, I was offline. I was gone for a second. I was distracted. I was back in the silliness and the drama, and I woke up and I came back to the moment, right? And we keep doing this over and over and over again because first, the moment is the only doorway to real liberation. You can't get free in the past, you can't get free in the future. You get free now. Having a deep, intense awareness of everything, right? And freedom also, liberation, spiritual liberation like this also means that we're feeling everything. Like eventually, in this life, the next life, in some life, right? We're going to get to the point where we can just hold everything, right? We'll get to the point of holding everything because we will be attuned to the nature of everything. Because there's only one nature, there's only one essence, right? And once you start tuning into that, everything feels like background noise, right? It doesn't feel so real, it doesn't feel so intense. The dream doesn't feel so real, right? It feels like a dream, it feels like an illusion, right? I often talk about, just how I'm not functioning around fear anymore, functioning from fear anymore, because over all these years of practice, I'm finally getting to this place of like really feeling the illusion of everything. That the world, yeah, it's not my home. And I don't have that same anxiety like I used to, maybe in like my 20s, which is, the anxiety is what brought me into practice. The anxiety about everything, right? Um, but that anxiety has dissipated quite a bit. And what I'm able to do is just kind of sit in the nature of things more and more. And that offers me space. So I can be in a moment of systemic collapse and apocalypse, right? And I can hold that and I can feel it, you know? I can feel it, I can experience it, right? And I can say, yeah, yeah, this is it, right? And then from that space, you make choices. What do you actually need to invest your energy in, right? What are the things you need to divest from and actually focus on instead, right? And the most important thing that we can do, yes, is to help, to be of service, right? To meet the needs of people, which we have often called becoming the medicine. This is the prayer that we do at the end of our session. May I become the medicine. You can't become anyone's medicine if you're not first and foremost your medicine, right? Don't give me medicine that you don't want to take and that you've never taken, you know? And like I've often said in the past too, is that like not everyone who calls themselves a healer gets to put their hands on me. Right? Like listen, I need to feel the level of the work that you're doing for yourself. I need to feel the intensity of your medicine before you start to treat me with anything. You know? Like you need to be the medicine for yourself first. Mhm. And often in my herbalism practice too, which I'm beginning to talk more and more about because I'm having to do some public work around it. Um, I realize that so much of like the way that I make medicine is actually for me. Like I just make medicine for myself, and then I share it with people. And I say, well, this has worked for me, right? I want to share this medicine that I have found to be really potent, right? That's how I understand practice and teaching. You don't get anything that I haven't set with and worked through and internalized. Right? That's the naturalness. That's the ease. That's the space that many of you feel when you come into spaces with me. I am at home with myself. I am tending to myself. And because of that, I can just pour freely. I'm not worrying about the experiences that you're having. I'm not worrying about if you're getting what you need. I trust the potency of my medicine. I trust the really the complex, I wouldn't say, yeah, the complexity, the expansiveness of my medicine to meet you where you are. Right? And that is the qualities, those are the qualities of a really authentic teacher, right? Their medicine is durable, it's sustainable, it's fluid, it's open, it's dynamic, right? You don't get a sense that the teacher is holding back. Right. You get the sense that the teacher is just freely flowing. And those are the teachers that I'm drawn to, the teachers who are just freely flowing because they have become what they needed to be for themselves. They're not performing, right? Some of these teachers need to perform a little more because they're a little too live. They're, they're a little too online. I'm like, you might want to like thin that out a little bit, but still, I love it. I still love it. I'm like, okay, this is way out there, but I'm here for it, you know? And that's what happens. The deeper your realization, the freer you get. You're not held within the same restrictions as everyone else because you're beginning to sense the illusion of everything, and the rules just change. You're like there are less and less rules, which is also can be problematic, as we know. Right? But it's the potency of their medicine that helps them to experience this fluidity. That fluidity is what invites people into their medicine. Right? And I hope this space can be a really potent expressions of medicine for you right now in a time that feels so rigid, and that feels so, you know, limited, um, that feels too real. Right? These are the blessings of the Buddhas. These are the blessings of the lineages, right? Like this is the medicine that kind of like cuts through the rigidity and reconnects us to space, right? For me, space is extremely important, right? Because space is how I get to emptiness, right? Like space is how I begin to feel emptiness. And if you have a little bit of space, then there are solutions that there are choices. If there's no space, there's no choices, right? You feel kind of boxed in and you start reacting to that feeling of being boxed in or to that feeling of being limited, and that just intensifies suffering. Mhm. Yeah. Um, and as I was saying, over the past couple of days, I am feeling people's rigidity as, well, people's rigidity is contributing to a kind of like meanness, right? And it's not people's fault. It's just it's this is I mean this is just extraordinary times, right? But there's a meanness, there's an intense um sharpness with folks, and it's just I get it, but I don't appreciate it, right? And it's you see people if you go online, you see people. There are people coming out and saying the same thing. Like I'm noticing, people saying, why are people so mean? Like, what is this? You know? And that's what happens when we lose space. The meanness happens. If there's meanness, there's going to be violence. Right? How do you stay open in this moment where it feels as if everything is falling in on top? You know, yeah. But that's the opposite too. The sensitivity. It's like we're too sensitive, and therefore we find ourselves too open and actually not actually holding space for everything. We're feeling it and reacting. You know. How do we get back to this place, right? Where it's just like we're just being with everything, we're holding everything, right? Not reacting, but just noticing, feeling it, you know, feeling the support, right, of the earth, feeling the support of, all of our spirits and guides and so forth, right? Because that's a big part of the practice too, is that like you don't have to feel so alone, you know. As I, have shared before, and I talked about this in New Saints, how I had this intense vision. Now I was actually in a ceremony. So it wasn't just my natural tendency to have visions. We want to thank psilocybin for this experience. But I was in this is 2020, we were just like deep in quarantine. I had this vision of like just the ancestors and how they were just holding on to us. In this vision, they were holding on to me. And for me, the message was, no, no, we're holding on. We're organizing to support you all during this transition, right? And that gave me so much reassurance, that they were just holding on, right? And the specific vision was like there are ancestors holding me, and then behind me there are ancestors holding them, and so forth and so on. We were just kind of linked in this chain where every spirit had someone backing them up, and I could see like all the way into like the all the way into like the horizon or whatever. Like I could just see this chain of ancestors holding each other going back forever and ever, and I was like, okay, like this is I like you have my back, right? And that helps me to do the work that I do. I don't do work and not feel the unconditional support of spirits and ancestors and the Buddhas, right? That's why I have the audacity to do what I do. Mm. And when you get audacious, then you start motivating the spirits around you. They love that shit. Take a chance, take a risk, and dare them to hold you. Right? And that's why I tell you all the time. It's just like you need to invite all these energies, these beings around you into a real engagement, but you have to take the lead. They're not going to take the lead for you. You're not following them, they're following you. And as they follow you, they help to guide you like backseat drivers, but the good kind, you know? But you have to be the leader. right? And if you don't take the lead, then you really disrupt the ways in which they can be of help, right? You frustrate whatever they can offer because the risk taking, the openness, right, is how they pour into you. Like you open and they're pouring into you, right? And if you need more, you get more, but it's up to you. So let's begin. Let's get into our practice. And I want to continue with the practice that we began last week, the mirroring, because I think that it's very rich for us, and I want to see how much more we can do, right? I want to kind of begin by just by settling, so let's find our seat, let's notice the weight of our bodies and the seat rising to hold us. And allow your attention, all of this attention, to be drawn to the sensation of your body and the seat meeting. Pulling your attention out of the anxiety, the fear, the worry, right? The anger, the heartbreak. That's still going to be there, right? But call your attention to the seat. And this is also called gathering ourselves. Like we're gathering ourselves, right? Because we feel so scattered. Call yourself to the seat, to this moment, to the breath, whatever feels anchoring for you. Feeling the tethering of the seat. And of course, the tethering of the seat is very much related to the tethering that we feel from the earth, the land. Our bodies are expressions of the land, really an expression of all the elements, right? But the density of body, the structure of body, like that, those are the earth elements taking form in us. And this body, right, is just one expression of what we are. We both transcend the body, but also at the same time are limited to our bodies right now. And we can hold that extreme as well. I am my body, but I'm much more than my body. And what you're trying to do is feel both these experiences at once. Both the holding of your body and the limitlessness of your mind, really. In the grand scheme of things, the body is just another anchor, right? That helps us to center to presence in this moment. Our awareness, our consciousness is expansive, is unlimited, right? But that doesn't serve us right now without a real anchor because we are arising in this moment, in this body, in this timeline. Just a few more moments here. And so let's move deeper into our practice. So I invite you to shift your attention to the space around you, the mental space, the physical space, but noticing, feeling the space around you, the openness, and how the space, though empty in nature, is still quite full, it's potent. There's energy. And we're going to shape this energy by calling into this space the arising of all of our benefactors, all the beings who love us, who want us to be free from all across the universe. We say, welcome. Welcome to all the ones who love me, who see me, who are holding me. I ask that you make yourself known. And we can imagine that they begin to awaken, to appear around us in this space. The energy forming into sparkles of light like little stars. These stars shaping and forming into our benefactors, these beings, glowing and radiant all around us. And they begin to radiate even more intensely as that radiance, the soft white light begins to fill the space around us. And slowly we feel ourselves being wrapped and held in this energy of care. And we feel this energy slowly being absorbed into our bodies, feeling this energy move slowly into our skin, our bones, our muscles, other tissue, other organs, into our bloodstream, into our cells, into our molecules. This deep saturation of care from all the beings who love us. And as our bodies are deeply saturated, as we're deeply filled, we also begin to imagine that this energy begins to collect and concentrate also within our heart centers. And we can imagine that this energy begins to awaken our heart centers, melting these layers of apathy and fear and anger, right? Melting right through these layers, these icy layers, warming our heart centers up. And as this is happening, we turn our attention to our first mantra, our opening mantra, Om Nilasangye Ki no Soha, Medicine Buddha, please think of me. And as we chant this, feeling the power, the energy of this mantra in our heart center as it awakens our heart centers even more. And surrendering to that awakening. Letting this awakening of the heart center melt the sense of rigidity and apathy, right, and meanness, all of that, let it just melt within this intense radiance as we begin to call in the consciousness of Medicine Buddha. Beginning with chanting the mantra 3 times, and then ending with another elongated Okay? We begin. Om La Zange Hi No So Om La Zange Hi No So Om La Zange Ki No So And having finished and offered the mantra, we begin to imagine that our heart centers begins to take the shape.
Dear Lama Rod, so sorry to interrupt you. We are just having a very hard time hearing you. So I think if we turn the original sound for musicians off, that might be better again. It just dropped out as soon as we started doing the chanting.
So we've done the mantra, and so coming back to the heart center.
Yeah,
hmm
got it.
And so we are imagining our heart centers taking the shape, the form of Medicine Buddha. And whatever form Medicine Buddha is taking, let that just take shape as the healer, like the healer that you feel deeply connected to in this moment, be it the form of Medicine Buddha, be it another form of Medicine Buddha. It's all expressions of Medicine Buddha. And so we begin to imagine that the Medicine Buddha in our heart centers begins to grow. Beginning to fill up the space in our chests and beginning to actually expand outside of our bodies until we begin to imagine that we are actually being held within the heart center of Medicine Buddha. And slowly we feel ourselves dissolving into the body and consciousness of Medicine Buddha, of the healer that we've awakened, until there is no separation between us and our expression of Medicine Buddha. We become the healer. And as Medicine Buddha, as the healer, we imagine ourselves taking a deep inhale into the nose. And as we breathe out of the mouth, we are exhaling a stream of light that begins to collect in a ball of light in front of us. And that ball of light begins to take the form of us, ourselves, in our ordinary, everyday form. And let's try to be realistic about that representation. Whoever you see in the mirror is who you're seeing in front of you. Not who you were 20 years ago, not who you could be after some good work. Who you are when you look in the mirror is who you're looking at right now. But you are gazing at yourself as Medicine Buddha, or as an expression of Medicine Buddha. So we're gazing with deep care, kindness, tenderness, as all the Buddhas gaze upon us with tenderness. And we remember Mother Tara as well, Ma Tara, and how she blesses us with this deep empathy for all beings, especially for ourselves. And we call Tara into this space, imagining that she begins to awaken in our heart centers as Medicine Buddha, radiant and glowing, this fierce mother of liberation who liberates through compassion, deep care. And to deepen this kindness, this tenderness that we're offering for ourselves, we even turn to Tara's mantra. Very simple, Om Matara Soha. Om Matara Soha. And again, starting with Om and ending with Om and chanting the mantra 3 times in between. Beginning again with Om. Om. So and we begin to imagine that from our heart centers as Medicine Buddha, and from where Mother Tara has appeared, that this soft white light begins to stream from our heart centers into the heart center of ourselves, directly in front of us. Imagining that we, our ordinary selves, are being filled with this, not just this energy of deep healing, but also this profound energy of compassion, of deep care, flowing this energy of gentleness, tenderness, sensitivity, kindness back to ourselves. And again, our experience is just flowing from our awakened natures as Medicine Buddha into our ordinary selves. We are essentially blessing ourselves through the kindness of Medicine Buddha and Matara. Imagining that this sharing of energy is restoring us, tending to parts of our experience that need restoration. Let this energy hold your ordinary self. Because you are Medicine Buddha, you are unlimited right now. You have no boundaries. Your work is only to pour into all beings. And so when you're ready, we turn our attention to Medicine Buddha's main mantra, Teya Taum Baconze, Maha Baconze, Rasu Sumungate Soha. Which you'll see in the chat box. So like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the roots.
We lost the sound again.
Turning our attention to the mantra, Deyaton Baconze, Maha Baconze, Rasa Sumungate Soha. Like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. And I release the energy of this prayer out to all the world so that we all may be liberated. And we begin. Uteyanda begenze ma begenze razu sumungate soha. Deyanda begenze ma begenze razu sumungate soha. Eyang Sumungate Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Ma Beganze Razu Sumungate Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Ma Beganze Razu Sumungate Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Babeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Babeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Abeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Abeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Abeganze Yanda Umbeganze Beganze Mabeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Abeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Abeganze Yanda Abeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Mabeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Mabeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Mabeganze Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Anda Umbeganze Mabeganze Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze Mabeganze Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Deyanda Umbeganze Mabeganze Razuzumunga Soha Deyanda Umbeganze Beganze 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 Mabeganze Can you hear me now? Okay. I'm going to transition into our prayer requests. And again, calling into the space once again, all of our sources of refuge, all the guides, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dharma protectors, all benevolent ancestors, really all our benefactors, as we've all already gathered them. We offer these prayers to you that you work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers while also helping us to do what we can as well to bring about the fruition of these prayers. And we begin by offering prayers of gratitude for the healing and release of my sister from the UCLA Medical Center, gratitude for her being emboldened to surrender and trust outside help. Prayers for all those who came to our aid. May the networks of care be fortified. May all helping feel the lightness of love and the boost of energy that comes with helping. May JJA stay in the happy dementia bubble and not be triggered by necessary changes that have previously triggered him. May this be a new era of mutual care, lightness, and love in the family. May his ancestors guide and console him. I find myself separating more from worldly expectations. May my fugitivity into secret sources of refuge be blessed or exposed as dysfunctional so I may discern clearly. Gratitude for my R that she has a good transition leading up to the beginning of her senior year. Prayers I find a good paying job soon that I can also have Tuesdays free for chaplaincy school. Prayers that prayers that hope survives this madness and grows exponentially in the hearts of all. Prayers for A, our sister and family as they deal with family illnesses and caretaking needs. Prayers for Reverend N as she deals with her own medical needs and balances family, job, and ministry. Prayers for my sister and my family as we travel and gather. Prayers for liberation of the ghosts of the past. Prayers for my own heart as I navigate the dissolution of a long-time partnership. Prayers for my child during this period of separation, and always prayers for my spouse that they may find healing, abundant livelihood, friends, connections, ancestors, and community. Prayers for our community as they navigate our dissolution. May this change in our relationship be for the good, the sweet, the highest, and most beautiful. Praying for the clarity of consciousness as I navigate the dynamics in my relationship with one of my elders and spiritual teachers, acknowledging all of the patterns of disempowerment, orthodoxy, and fear of exile that arise as I encounter the humanity of our lives, touching as two imperfect human beings. Prayers for my mother's health and healing, for her housing stability. Prayers for M and R to be well and free. Prayers for the people of Palestine, both there and in the diaspora. May this genocide end. Prayers for A and Z who have taught me about love, kindness, forgiveness, and joy. Prayers for my folks, my community, for those experiencing various forms of carcerality to be well and free. Prayers for Lama Rod to get the rest he needs to be free with ease. Prayers for me to work and work well and have so very much to do and beginning again in a way that blessings of the cosmos. Prayers I let go of lingering amateur ways and hone in, calling in alignment. May all beings everywhere be free. Asheo. Prayers for me as I embrace the year of letting go, aka my letting go era. Prayers for me and all who are releasing outdated beliefs and stories that no longer serve us. Prayers for new sources economically and energetically sustain myself and my children. Prayers for myself as I recover from COVID, continue to heal and process a very taxing and painful relationship rupture. Prayers to my now former partner E, that she may experience and receive all that she needs to heal and be well, and may we both find the medicine and love we need and are in deep need of invocations for clarity to understand the messages from the ancestors, desperate for their guidance, what they want from and for me, but lost in translation, the ability to breathe underwater, to know how to breathe underwater, forgiveness from others and towards myself for grieving all the time, afraid of being so selfish and self-centered, and apologizing for being where I am at. Prayers for friends A and J who are healing from cancer and chronic illness. Prayers for people in the U.S. who are affected by ICE raids, loss of health care, transphobia, etc. Prayers for everyone impacted by genocide, colonization, carcerality, oppression, and injustice. I've asked for clarity, synchronicity, so I can align with the right people to follow my professional path, show me the signs, and give the support that I need to flow and shine my light and release the past traumas that I hold and my ancestors hold. Prayers that I can heal from trauma and continue with my Dharma practice. Prayers for DG struggling with cancer diagnosis. Prayers for ER and mother ER in Florida. Prayers for young people who are struggling to find their way in this world. I pray for the continued stability, clarity, and strength of all practitioners. May we keep our hearts and minds open and relaxed and not give way to depression and fear of being stirred by destructive beings. I humbly ask for prayers that I be released from chronic head pain and that I gain the wisdom to properly and consistently tend to its underlying causes, physical, spiritual, and otherwise. Prayers for all those recovering from trauma in all forms. May we all open to our pain and allow our hearts to heal us. May we be protected and guided and continue in our practice each and every moment. Prayers for my Uncle David, who was just diagnosed with lung cancer, for his aunt and my aunt's peace of mind, comfort, and that they are surrounded by seen and unseen support. Offering prayers for the safety protection of Bazam and Mahmoud as they continue to report the truth. Prayers for all those suffering with heartbreak and loss, prayers for the earth of gratitude and protection, and prayers for the trees, plants, and all animals to know they are cherished and marveled over. Prayers especially for the aspens, the zinnias, and the squirrels. Prayers for June Sharon for peace, letting go in this late stage of dementia and Alzheimer's, and for skilled, gentle hearts to surround her with tender care each day. Prayers for the broken hearts of C and F, and for the sweet and for sweet E now in the spirit realm. Prayers for my cousin as she makes the trip east. May nothing prevent her from spreading and encountering only love between herself and the humans she interacts with. Prayers for moving through conflict in my home with love, openness, and gentleness, to move through rigidity with the softness of water, to let go of being right, and come to understanding and compassion. Prayers for the healing for my family: Mike, Mary, Deb, Jared, Don, and Jen, Therese, Clint, MJ, John, Chris, Tim, Steph, Alex, Casey, Patrick, Shelby, and Marlo. Prayers for the next year of grad school. May I use it to heal and grow deeply, to offer that out to the world. Offering prayers for Palestine, for the children of Palestine, for the mothers of Palestine, for the fathers of Palestine, for the grandmothers of Palestine, for the grandfathers of Palestine, for every single being in Palestine. Offering prayers for bravery and courage to do the right thing. Prayers for M and for insight and clarity to grow. Prayers for Jeffrey to secure fulfilling, reliable employment immediately. Prayers for financial flourishing into elder years. Prayers for M and P for long, healthy, beautiful lives. Prayers for Matthew, Nellie, and Amir. Prayers for Anas al-Sharif, his family, and the other journalists killed in Gaza and their families. Prayers for A to be safe from harm in the quicksand of a divorce. Prayers for overcoming loneliness as much as a human can, and to be released from it's too late, it's too late. Prayers for the millions of people whose lives depend on Medicaid and other public programs. Prayers for Luke, the dog next door. He's never been to a vet but needs to go. May we find the best local vet possible, who is kind and caring, and transportation to get there. Ashe. Humbly asking for prayers for those of us who are being targeted for what we look like, for who we are, whose ground is being ripped from beneath us, that we may find grace and love for ourselves. Offering prayers for babies Sydney and Jimmy and their families as they recover from open heart surgery. Prayers to unite in community as we navigate holding space for and riding the waves of fear coming our way. Offering prayers for those without shelter as they are increasingly targeted and criminalized. Prayers of gratitude for time spent with family and friends during these last days of summer. Prayers to end suffering, genocide, aggression, violence, and neglect in the world. Prayers to protect those who are sharing the truth of what harms are perpetuated in the world. May all beings find refuge in their true nature. Prayers for those who need a safe place to sleep, eat, and live. Prayers for Ricky Joyner in his last week of radiation treatment for brain cancer, for his wife, Diane, and their family. Offering prayers for my daughter's half brother, Will, who just relapsed after 3 years of being sober and is now in treatment, having lost his job and likely his license. Prayers for my daughter, Hollister, and husband, Andy, who have so much on their shoulders already with autistic children. May they feel supported and loved as they carry this work for their family. May they get some rest. Prayers for all the Palestinians, especially the journalists murdered in Gaza, including the recent 5 who were just killed in a relentless bombing by Israel. Prayers for the Israeli hostages whose chances for freedom grow dimmer each day. Prayers for myself and all of us hold who the prayers for myself and all of us, we who hold the daily hearts and try to keep coming back to the surface. May we continue our practice and hold, love, and support each other. Prayers especially for the lessening of fear during this time. Prayers for the ancestors. May they be well. May they help us be well. Prayers for my heart. May I be adorned in love, and may I receive it all. Prayers for C as she transitions into college life. May she feel supported by her sources of refuge and surround herself with loving influences. Prayer for D and L and their caretakers as they navigate the transition into end of life. Offering prayers to my parents as they care for my grandfather in his old age, and for all their spirits to be free. Prayers for abundance. May I continue to shine and be supported doing what I love. Prayers for receiving and claiming abundance of resources that I may need to carry on my path, for letting go of what I need, what I no longer need. Those energies and resources may be offered up to emptiness or to those beings who may need it. Prayers that I let go of anger at other people's representation of me and dead friends and their memoirs and acceptance of their experience. Prayers for A and her recent diagnosis. May the angels and ancestors of healing carry her and her family through these challenging times. Prayers for those who feel keeping their heart open is a challenge during these times. May the essence of joy and magic continue to call our names, and may we embrace stillness and emptiness so we may hear them and follow their call. Prayers of gratitude for the elders and the sacred cultural memories that they keep. Prayers for Papo, who just entered the bardo. May he rest and be reborn a Buddha in the next life. We continue to pray and offer prayers for the complete abolishment of all systems of harm and violence that keep us limited and under-resourced. May all these systems be completely abolished. May we remember who and what we are as quickly as possible. May we all get free now. And may it be so. And we offer these prayers to all of our sources of refuge that you work on our behalf quickly and swiftly to bring about the fruition of these prayers now. And I also uplift all the unspoken prayers as well. May all these prayers be lifted. And we return back to our mantra. And I'll just do it without the drumming and just see if we can hear. But if you can hear, just, just channel along in your space as well. Okay. 오태야나 움베근세 베근세 마베근세 라주 수문가테 수아 제야나 움베근세 베근세 마베근세 라주 수문가테 수아 제야나 움베근세 베근세 마베근세 라주 수문가테 소하 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라주 수문가테 소하 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라주 수문가테 소하 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라주 수문가테 수아 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라주 수문가테 수아 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라자 수mon가테 소아 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라자 수mon가테 소아 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라자 수mon가테 소아 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라자 수문가테 소아 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라자 수문가테 소아 제안다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라자 수문가테 소아 제야다 옴베근세 베근세 마베근세 라자 수문가테 소아 제야다 옴베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아 대야나 온베 간세 베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아 대야나 온베 간세 베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아 대야나 온베 간세 베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아 대야나 온베 간세 베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아 대야나 온베 간세 베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아 대야나 온베 간세 베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아 대야나 온베 간세 베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아 대야나 온베 간세 베 간세 마베 간세 라즈 주문 같았소아. So when you're ready, shifting your attention back to yourself, appearing in front of you. And imagine yourself now filled with lights, filled with this healing energy, this compassion from Medicine Buddha, from Matara. And you imagine that as you, this yourself in front of you, gazes back at yourself as Medicine Buddha, that you're gazing back at yourself with this deep tenderness, this deep gratitude. Imagine that you're even you're thanking yourself in this form as Medicine Buddha. And then slowly you imagine the self in front of you dissolving into this white light. And this white light is absorbed into the heart center of Tara, who still remains in the heart center of yourself as Medicine Buddha. And slowly Matara begins to dissolve into the body of you as Medicine Buddha. And all the benefactors around you, they also begin to dissolve into white light, which is absorbed into your body as Medicine Buddha. And you imagine just sitting, opening to this very nature of emptiness from which you are arising from which all phenomena arises from. And slowly our bodies as medicine Buddha begins to slowly dissolve into this emptiness. Like salt dissolving into warm water. And our awareness is released as it mingles within space and emptiness itself. Just being, just allowing, open and fluid, with no limitations. And so when you're ready, beginning to allow your body to take form again, feeling the weight of your body, feeling the seat under you, feeling the anchoring of the seat, as well as the anchoring of the land, the earth. As you come back into form, and when you're ready, beginning to reawaken your body through simple movement. We turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which is in the chat box, which we'll recite 3 times to conclude our practice, and we'll begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for all those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of very beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain. I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. All right. All right. Thank you for your practice and for your patience today. Is really wonderful to practice with everyone. I hope to see you in one of our programs this week, definitely tomorrow, where we will be exploring karma.